So we got this Infinity FX35, and this is the rear wheel. What I'm going to be working on is this rear wheel hub. And I've already popped this nut off of here, the cotter pin and the nut, and I sprayed some lube in there and got that axle to move. And the way I did that is I just got a ball peen hammer, and I set that ball peen hammer like that, and I hit it with a 2-pound hammer, just hit the end of it. I can't do it with one hand, so you just have to imagine hitting it with a 2-pound hammer. But anyway, I held it up against it like that so I didn't have to take a swing. See, if you take a swing at this thing, you're not going to hit it square. You're going to ding the threads all up. You don't want to do that. So you could do it this way, or you could get an air chisel with a point on it and hit that sucker with an air chisel, and it'll go in. And this is a Texas car, so there's not a lot. They don't use a lot of salt on the roads. But anyway, so one of the observations I made, which in addition to the excessive noise that this thing was making, it was an amazing amount of noise coming out of this bearing. It sounded like the wheel was literally coming off, okay? But you can see all the debris that's everywhere. This sucker is grinding up, boy. We are gonna get a treat. Somebody drove this sucker too long, and it's just snowflaked everywhere, dusted everywhere from that bearing. All those little sparkles down there, those are all pieces of that bearing just grinding up and shooting out. And you can smell it when you're driving too. So, alright, so I'm going to pop this caliper off here and hang it up so I don't destroy my line, which this is I think it's an '08 model. These brake lines should be replaced. It's 10 years old. All rubber brake lines and things like this should be replaced at 10 years. So anyway, somebody's been here before and messed with it. I mean, the cover's missing off of this bleeder, so something's been going on in here, brake job or whatever, but that's no big deal. But whenever you're working on something like this, you try to have a look at things from all angles. So let's get it to the next step, okay? Alright, so I've got the brake rotor taken off, and you can see how much debris is everywhere from that bearing, boy. It's a mess. Look at that. A big old pile of grinded up stuff in there. Alright, so as well as that grinding, I mean, it looks like it's damaged the emergency brake pad, and it was hitting on the brake caliper. You can see where it's rubbed right there and rubbed on that little tab right there from it just being all out of whack. So that's where we're at right now. I've got it tore down. I'm about to take these bolts. There's 4 bolts in there. You can see them from this side, but they come out from the back. I've heated it up a little bit. Just be careful when you're using the torch. I've got a small torch that I use to heat things up. If you spray brake clean on there, you're going to have to get rid of that brake clean before you use the torch, because it's very highly flammable, and I guarantee you it will catch on fire. So let's get this thing around the back here. See if we can get some bolts in the picture. Alright. That's one of them there. So you just kind of move this CV axle out a little bit so you can get your socket in there. You just got 4 bolts that you need to take out. Not that hard to do. Just have to take your time and do it. Alright, so to get to these bolts, what I use is just a 19mm socket. I move this out enough to get in there with a 6-inch extension and this long-handled 3/8 drive ratchet. So I got to all 4 of them using this exact method right here. Some of them are tight. You know, I just heated these ends up a little bit with the torch, and they're coming out, but they're tight. Alright, so I've hit it a few times with the hammer. It's coming out much easier than the front one did. But that's it. That's what it looks like. That's how it comes off. Probably get in here and replace some of this other junk in here. These emergency brake things are kind of fried. But what you'll need to do now is you'll need to clean all this up in here, all this rusty, nasty stuff. Clean all this up and lube it. Put that sucker back together. Alright, y'all take it easy.